Hey there, Lakeisha Ruffin here,
Craig Ruffin here.
and today we just want to share a little bit with you about communication in relationships. In particular, we want to share about nipping things in the bud quickly in relationships. So, Craig, just tell me briefly, or it doesn't have to be brief, go as long as you want. Just share a little bit on why it's important to nip things in the bud quickly in relationships.
It's important to nip things in the bud in relationships as a show of value for the relationship. When you're in a relationship with somebody, it's important to just be honest and tell people about the things that they may do to irritate you or frustrate you as a means of continuing the relationship. If you spend enough time with anybody, they're going to do things that may rub you the wrong way from time to time. But it's important to share the truth about those situations as quickly as possible so that you won't have any buildup. A lot of times you allow things to go on and go on and go on, and then a lot of times you may explode on that person, and they don't realize why you are coming at them so aggressively, but really it's because of the buildup, the many times that they have done this thing and that you have not communicated with them. It's just continued to grate on you until you just explode. And you don't want to do that in relationships. You want to be able to establish honest, clear lines of communication and just share so the communication can be healthy.
Absolutely. And it's very important, like Craig said, you continue to act, and I'm paraphrasing here, you continue to act as if this thing that this person is doing doesn't affect you. Really, it's getting on your last nerve. You are irritated with them the very first time they did it. And, so I say when you do that, that's kind of on you. It's kind of on you when you're not honest up front in a communication. When you're not letting someone know, like, man, this really irritated me badly the first time. And I'll give you an example. Somebody came up to me, and sometimes people they do little things to you and they think that it's okay. So somebody came up to me at church, and she did one of these things from behind, and I immediately turned around. I was like, stop, I don't like that. And she kind of froze, like, I am so sorry. I said, please don't touch me there again. But had I laughed it off and smiled and acted like, oh, it was okay, and then she probably would have done the same thing the next Sunday, the next Sunday after that. So we really, and that's a small example, but we really have to, just share up front. We have to nip things in the bud quickly. Cut that mess out. I don't like it.
Yeah. And the thing about it is it's a part of getting to know someone. As a part of getting to know somebody, you learn everything about them, the things that they like, the things that they don't like, and everything in between. It's important to share, and it's important to listen as well when people are sharing certain things with you. It's important to take them into account. There are things that my wife Lakeisha and our daughter Caitlin may share that they don't like about us, and that they don't like that I might do as far as teasing them or tickling them or what have you. And they may say, well, you keep saying that you're sorry, but you keep doing it, and that's a lack of consideration. So you have to always try to work to be considerate in relationships, to let the other person know how important they are. When they're sharing things with you, you need to consider them and try to make your adjustments accordingly. And that's what it's all about. In our 19 years, we have had a lot of things that had a lot of experience with allowing things to linger, and we've also had experience with nipping things in the bud. But nipping things in the bud are a lot more preferable to letting things linger, because those things can cause wounds that are very hard to heal.
Right, and some things, when they happen, they can't be undone.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
You're leaving little impressions, you're leaving little scars along the way, and
Yes.
the person begins to feel like, man, this joker
Yes.
don't give a rat's behind about me.
Yes.
Excuse my vernacular, but as Craig stated in the beginning, when you listen to a person, you take note of what that person wants, or what their desires are in a relationship. When you take note of that, it's showing that you actually value that relationship, that you value that person.
And that's what it's all about in relationships. And in any relationship, in any situation, in order to be good at doing anything, the first thing that you have to do is to care. If you care, then you would give the effort that's required to be good at what you're doing. If you don't care, then you basically don't care. You're not willing to do what it takes to make the situation the best that it can be. You have to care, especially if somebody's sharing with you specifically something that they don't like or something that hurts or bothers them. And that's literally how a person will determine whether or not you care, or to whatever degree. So it's important, if somebody is looking to nip something in the bud, it's important that you work with them to do just that. Because when you do, it's only going to make the relationship better. And that's our goal, is to have quality, healthy relationships, and a good way to do that is to nip things in the bud.
All right, and Craig, you shared something earlier just about the build-up, like when you don't nip things in the bud right away, there's generally a build-up that occurs.
Absolutely.
So, for example, you let this pass the first time, you let it pass the second time, and you might get a little bit irritated the third time around that thing happens.
Absolutely.
You're a little bit more frustrated, and the person isn't changing. This person is doing the same exact thing that they've been doing the whole time. They're not changing.
Absolutely.
They're being who they've been the whole time.
Absolutely.
But by you not communicating with them and letting them know how it really affects you, you're the one that's changing, and you're growing increasingly bitter, increasingly angry, increasingly agitated.
Absolutely.
So this other person isn't changing, and this person might have done the same exact thing, the same exact way, or said the same exact thing, the same exact way, and then that fifth time, sixth time, 10th, whatever, third year, fourth year, fifth year, however long it takes, then you decide to just blow up and you want to go.
Yes.
You want to go wild,
And that's what it's about. Just honest communication. Just sharing with that other person, how you feel, and them receiving it as well. You have to let people know what's going on with you. You always want to eliminate the guesswork from relationships. It's not good to assume anything in relationships. It's good to share everything that you feel. Good, bad, or everything in between, because that's what it's all about,
Yeah, please don't assume. Please don't assume. We go right to that worldly definition of assuming. You're going to make okay, I ain't even go there. All right.
Yeah, so it's just good to do that, and it is a skill.
Absolutely.
Nobody's naturally born with that ability, and a lot of times we're worried about offending somebody by sharing things that we don't like that they may or may not be doing. But it's important, actually it's just the opposite. It's telling that person that I really do want to deal with you and continue to have this relationship. But if you eliminate this or make an adjustment here, then it'll make it better. Which is what we want. We want the relationships to grow and get better every day, and certain changes and adjustments, they can only foster that betterment of the relationship, and that's what we're looking for.
Right, and when you communicate with the person and you share with them honestly, definitely you want to be respectful in a loving manner. When you share with that person the way that you feel, if that person doesn't receive you after you share it with them honestly, then that might be a sign that you need to reevaluate that relationship, because everyone should be willing, to some degree, to understand that, hey, this is the way that I desire to be treated, in this relationship. So,
Absolutely.
If they can't get with this, then they might need to get with that over somewhere else without you. What you think about that one?
Yes. And that's it. Everybody, does or should have a personal value about themselves, what they will accept and what they will not accept in relationships. And basically, by you letting somebody know what you like or don't like, or what you will accept or not accept, is showing personal value. Nobody will value you unless you value yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's very important to express your value. A lot of times that's what nipping things in the bud are about. Like the basic thing is when we start out dating, when somebody leaves you on hold on the phone for too long, you may put on airs and say, oh, that's okay, you left me on hold for
That's
this
because
amount
you're
of
really
time.
valuing that relationship. You're really trying to get this girl or this guy to dig you, so you are tolerating some things a little bit more than you might tolerate in another instance.
Absolutely. But over a period of time, once you get to know that person and you secure in that relationship, you're pretty much going to let them know, hey, you left me on hold too long, or you're just going to begin to hang up. So these are just little things that you have to deal with in relationships, little tidbits. We don't fancy ourselves as experts or anything,
Absolutely.
but just want to share some things that could help according to the way that we perceive things in our own unique flavor.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us today. And again, this is Lakeisha Ruffin.
And this is Craig Ruffin signing off.
All right.